Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to Book Piles. I am Rach. I'm a Kiwi reader. And I am reawakening my channel because I have got very excited about a readathon, a year-long readathon, and I thought that I might record my progress and restart my channel at the same time. So yes, hi, remember me? If my video crops up in your subscription feed and you wonder, it's been a couple of years. I'm still reading. I just hadn't recorded any videos for a while for it. So probably the big change, if you used to watch my videos, is my background. In the time frame from then until now, I have managed to secure a space in a room for a library, and I actually have 4 Billy bookcases. There's one more there, but you can see I still have piles. A lot of these piles are all the books that I've acquired this year. So I do need to do some reorganization because I don't really have room. I don't have room here. You can see the shadow for a light. I could put a half size. It would block a bit of the window, but it wouldn't be too bad. And there's no room on the other side. It reaches the wall. So I'm just mulling. There is space behind the camera where I could do a bit of jiggery pokery, and I could get 1.5 Billies. So I am toying with that, or maybe being ruthless. I do have a box of books at the bottom of the shelf that's there, which is for the local book sale. So I could be a bit more ruthless maybe. Anyway, that's all stuff for another video. Today I'm going to talk about what's got me excited, and it is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Yeah. I'm doing the chickens version, which is called Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. I have notes in front of me. I have my iPad with the bingo board on it, and I have a pile of books. So I'm just going to talk through the prompts and how I'm going to do them, and then it starts next week, basically. I apologise. I'll try not to move too much in my chair. I think this chair makes a bit of noise. Anyway, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do is from a lady called Stephanie, I believe. The YouTube channel is Qwerty. I'll link it below, or at least put the name if I can't link it properly. My editing skills have not improved in the time that I have been away, and neither have my book reviews either. I used to say I was the YouTube's worst booktubing reviewer, but anyway, so this is the 3rd year she has run this year-long challenge. It starts July. Official start is the 7th of July, which I believe is her birthday, and runs till the 6th of July the following year. But you can start it whenever. A lot of people started on the 1st of July, which is what I'm going to do. And this year she has given you 3 variations. So there's the original version, which if you were to complete it would give you, or you would read if you did not double up, 150 books. Now that's one reason why I'm going for the chickens version. I shouldn't call it that, but I am. I typically read around 80 to 90 books a year, so 150 is a stretch. However, you can double up one book into 2 spaces, so that drops it down to about 75, which then makes it more doable. So my thought was that I would do the kind of version this year and try it out, see if I like it, and if I do, then contemplate doing the proper version for the 27-28 year. We'll see. So I have purposely sat so that I can hopefully put the bingo board here, and you'll be able to read along the prompts with me. But what you'll see is the bingo board, and you'll just think, oh, it's a bingo board. The problem is, if that's the right way of pushing it, is each square is its own challenge. I think there is only one square that covers 2 books. Every other square is more than 2 books. So that's where you get up to 150. I think there are some squares which have 11 books you need to read to complete that square. That's why it's the hardest reading challenge. But it sounds really interesting, and I really like, actually, even though there are prompts in here and I like this year's version, but I was not ready to attempt another 75 books on top of what I've already been reading. Even though it's a year and it will be some of the quota for this year and some of the quota for next year, I thought I would just ease into it, which is why I'm doing the Ain't Nobody Got Time version. And also, with that, I am making it romance, 95% romance. So, yeah, that and I wanted to just see whether that is possible, so that if I did decide to do the original version next round, so 4.0, is it achievable to look at it within what I read? Because if this is your first video ever of watching me, and chances are it is because it's been a few years since there were any videos on my channel, I predominantly read romance, contemporary or historical. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and then there are shelves above. Those are all my historicals. I read contemporary fiction, I read historical fiction, I read non-fiction. I have now read and liked a lot a paranormal, but I have still yet to try a fantasy that I'm aware of. So yeah, I'm not great at going out of my comfort zone, and yeah, so that sometimes I think possibly would make something like this a little bit harder. I don't know. That's why I want to experiment for this round 3.0, and doing the Ain't Nobody Got Time version. So I think that that's a lot of what I wanted to say. You'll see on the bingo board there are 5 purple squares. So I'm now going to start looking away a lot as well as looking at the camera, so hopefully it will edit across okay. The 5 purple squares are give you more freedom. I think the catchword for this year is customization. So those 5 squares are part of your customization. So you have a lot more freedom than what the rest of the board has for you. I have just realized I don't have anywhere to look at the spreadsheet. So I hope I get everything right based on the notes I've got in front of me. So let's get cracking in the interests of not making this video take forever and a day. So we're going to start at the top left, work across the line, next line down, left to right, blah blah blah, as if you were reading a book is the plan. So the first square is purple and it is choose your party. Now this, I believe, is based on Dungeons and Dragons, which I do not play, but there is a spreadsheet. Now Stephanie gives great resources. There's a website, and there is spreadsheets, there are FAQ spreadsheets, all linked in her videos. So if you're interested in it, I would encourage you to make use of those resources. I forgot where I was going with that. In the spreadsheet, she does list the roles. So the idea with Choose Your Party is that it's based on the profession of the main character, or characters, I guess, but at least one main character's profession. And she does list the D&D roles and then equivalents in real life, if you like. So for this challenge, I've just realised there's one more thing I need to tell you before we launch into all of this. In the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That version, you only need to read one book per square, so like a true bingo board type thing. I am expanding that a little bit. Some of them I'm going to read more, which I'll explain as I come to them. Obviously in the standard version, I think in this square you need to read 5 books. So for me, I only need to read one book. So what I have written down in my notes is I could choose a fighter, which is could be a sports player, so that could be any sports romance. I could choose paladin, which she has listed as, I think it was bodyguard, police and military. So for that, I could read the next book I have in Juliet N. Banks' Black Hawk Security series I'm reading, or I could read Warlock, which in brackets she's got magic brought, and she's listed as billionaire. And that's one of my favourite tropes. An enemies to lovers billionaire is probably Chef's Kiss book. So I haven't chosen a specific book for this yet because I feel like it will just happen naturally. So we'll wait on that, and if for some reason I don't read a sports romance, which is not going to happen because I'm up to book 5 in the Game Changer series, so that's automatically a book. And as I say, I could read billionaire romances quite easily, so that one will just happen. The periodic table is you need to read a book with a word of one of the symbols or elements in the periodic table. And in the FAQs, it does say that you can use the word golden. So I have this book on my shelf. What I need to research is how much I need to have read the other books before this. I think these are primarily standalones, but it's suggested that you read books 1 and 2 in order of her published books. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, for periodic table, this is my plan. For familial terms, it's mum, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, and it can be husbands and wives. I've confused my pile. That's okay. I did think for this that I should be able to find a historical along the lines of A Duke Takes a Wife. However, when I did a quick scan of my physical shelves, I couldn't see anything. But I don't know what's on my Kindle. So that's where I'm kind of aiming. However, I do have a backup. I have 5 Brothers by Penelope Douglas, which I have yet to read, obviously. So this book would actually do another prompt. I have made the rule for myself that I'm not doubling up because I'm only doing the gentler version. I don't plan to double up any books. But if I was doing the original version, I could double this up into 2 different categories. So this is a backup if I don't find a historical, which is what I was thinking for this prompt. Then we have Traipsing Through the Regions, which is narrowing down. I believe in 2.0 they read continents, a book from every continent or something along those lines. So this is refining it a little bit more and picking a continent and then choosing a region. At the moment, my plan is to read, let me put it here because it might get blocked by the bingo board that I plan on putting on the screen. Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, which is set in Italy. So thinking Mediterranean as my region. But I believe in order to read this, and I hope I've got this right again, this is what you need to read first. And this, I think, will then work for the next square, which is choose your curriculum. So let's get that out of the way. Choose your curriculum is one of those ones, again, that you have more freedom over. And the idea is that you choose books, not necessarily non-fiction, related to what you would learn at classes at school. So a lot of Ali Hazelwood's books are heavily science orientated. So we've got a biotech engineer, sciencey things, food science. And I think if I've picked the right book, this you need to read before you read Problematic Summer Romance. So I will swap those squares around, although it doesn't matter in what order you do them anyway. So that's for choose your curriculum. All right, next row down, US road trip. So this is just any state. If you're choosing America, it's got US road trip, so probably people will look at that, but it doesn't have to be. It could be UK, it could be France. All the condition is that you don't focus on the major locations. So for US road trip, you can't read a book set in New York or California. I feel like this, it will just fall into place. So I haven't chosen a book for that. The first time I read something, and this is for quite a few prompts actually, the first time I read a book that mentions a state that isn't New York or California will be the book that goes into that slot. The next square is Bookception, which I think is quite a cool challenge. I think this is the only square rather that only has two. If you were doing the normal version, would be two books that you would read. So the idea is that you read a book, and when that mentions another book in the story, so maybe one of your characters is reading Moby Dick, you then read Moby Dick. Now, luckily for me, prior to deciding to do this, I had placed an Amazon order, and I have 4 books actually arriving today, of which 3 of them will work for this challenge, and one of them is This Book Made Me Think of You, which I understand has 12 other books mentioned in it. So I'm hoping that one of those 12 books I will be happy to read. If not, I have a problem. So we'll just, fingers crossed. I have done no research to find out what those books are. I don't want to know. I want the book to flow without knowing what's coming. So that is the plan. So I'll stick the cover thing here, and we'll see how that pans out. So this, I think, becomes the first square that I will read 2 books for. The not so secret prompts anymore is I think there are 12 prompts, because I believe they're based on every month. Apparently Stephanie releases an extra challenge for you. So this year they're called side quests, which I haven't looked much into yet, but these not so secret prompts are the ones from 2.0. So I had a look. I don't have the whole list in front of me, but the one that would work the easiest for me is your most recent acquisition. Now, buying books and reading books are 2 separate hobbies for me, so I don't have a problem finding something to read for that. Next we have cover styles, and it's things like, let's choose, what have we got? It's like the style of the cover. So like this is a cartoon character, and some covers are just heavy typography, some are photographs of things, some are paintings. So as far as it goes for me, I will just slot in the first book I read that fits the cover styles the best, or the cover style, whichever. It's probably going to be something cartoony like, which is a lot of what happens on romance books. So it basically will be that, again, the first book that doesn't fit another prompt, I will put into that. Right, titular counting. There are 2 count numbers prompts in this challenge. So this one is the number of words in the title. So in the main book, you need to read a 1-word title, a 2-word title, a 3-word title. So again, for me, I think it will be the next book that doesn't fit into anything else that I'm reading for that one, I think is what I have planned for that. Let me just move these stickies out of the way now, because I'm on this page. Okay, 3rd row down, characters to authors. So this is another 2-book challenge for me. I think it's a 3-book challenge in the main version. So basically you read a book, and whatever the character's name is, you need to then find a book with an author of that character's first name. So like Ellie Hazelwood. So if I read a book by somebody else and the female character is called Ellie, I will then read an Ellie Hazelwood book. And that's how I'm going to do it for me. I can't remember what the 3rd book is, whether it's... I don't know. I'm not going to confuse people or confuse myself, because I don't need to know that. I'm just going to do the 2 books. So the character's name becomes the first name of the author of the 2nd book for that. The next prompt, and I hope I say this properly, is Shiritori. Shiritori. It's a chain prompt, and I was almost toying with doing the whole, you have to do 5 books on the original version, almost toying with doing that, whoops, but I think I'm going to do, did I write down, I'm going to do 3, a chain of 3. So what you need to do is, and this is probably not the best example, the last letter of the title becomes the first letter of the next book. So if I was to read this for that prompt, I would then need to find a book starting with E. And then whatever the last letter of that title was would become the first letter of the 3rd book that I'm reading. So I'm only going to do a chain of 3 for the lesser version that I'm doing. Okay, the middle square, which is purple, is a... How are we going? I'm just going to pause the camera for a moment. Okay, my camera likes to cut off. It gets sick of working after about 20 odd minutes, and it likes to shut down on me unintentionally. So hopefully I caught it in time, because my brain is not remembering seeing the record. But anyway, let's hope it's okay. There might be some editing to do after all. Alright, so we're up to the middle square, which is purple, and it's the Her-Kid mashup. And this one was a little bit more head scratching. So the idea with this square is that you take a prompt from Her-Kid 1 and a prompt from Her-Kid 2 and put them together, and that is your challenge for this square. When I looked at the boards, there was really only one thing that jumped out at me until I watched somebody else's video and realised that there was a prompt. So there was one thing on board 1 that I liked, and then when I watched someone's video and they talked about what they were going to do, I realised there was a prompt from board 2 and it would work for me too. So I have chosen for this, and this will be probably, I think, this is the biggest chunk of books I need to read for one square, and it is 7 books for me. I have chosen to do from board 1 the 4+ book series, and from board 2 it's called Challenge Yourself, where basically you set the challenge. So that I am going to do is to read the Liz Tom Ford's entire catalogue. So let's not lose that. Oh, this might be my Amazon package. I'm just going to pause for a minute and just make sure. It is my Amazon package. Oh, excuse me. Let's pull out the books we need. And then we'll come back to the mashup square. Oh, have I got any scissors here? Come on. Okay. All right. Yep, that is one I want. Okay, so we'll come back to that. All right, that's what I want. That's what I want, and that's a spare. Although it could be used. We're getting 2 videos in one here now, a little book haul. There's only 4 books. Right, let's finish the mashup square, and then we'll come back to what's just happened. So my plan, as I said, is to read the Liz Tom Ford's catalogue, which I understand at the moment is only 6 books, and there is one coming out, I noticed, in about March of next year, so still within the window of her kit. So I haven't read any yet. So this is the first book in the series, and I had this on my radar to read because this is, I believe, her debut novel, and I need a debut novel for one of my bingos in my reading journal, which we'll deal with in another video. So I have actually got all 6 of her books currently, the 5-book series, and I've recently got In a League of Her Own. So that is going to be my mashup challenge, reading all of Liz Tom Ford, which will cover the series of 4+ books, and then challenging myself to read all of Liz Tom Ford, 7 books by the end of this challenge, because her 7th book doesn't come out till next year, as I said. Okay, let's segue to the 4 books that have just arrived. So let me think about this as I am. So I had up here as familial terms. Am I thinking about this right? Yes. I think the other thing that I had, what's this, number of words in the title? We haven't got to this. Okay. All right, so this is going to probably be subject to, my brain is working as I try and figure this out. There isn't a change for this. It'll either be this for familial terms or historical romance with a Duke wants a wife type thing. Bookception. I'm so pleased that I got this cover. When I was looking on my Amazon page watching the tracking for this, it had a different cover, and I'm like, oh no, please give me this cover. This is what I brought. I want this cover. So this is the book that I will read, and then I will go on and read something from here. The feel-good novel of the year. This is, from what I understand, what is that movie? Gerard Butler. Oh, and Hillary somebody or other. Oh, you know the one. Anyway, let's just, if I can figure it out, I'll put it on the screen. Okay, that's for later. That's coming up next. Choose your curriculum. I did think Although this could be also traipsing through the regions too. So I'm currently reading The Frozen River, which I am enjoying. So I picked up this other book from Ariel Lawhorn, however you pronounce it. So this could be history and choose your curriculum, or it could be traipsing through the regions. I would need to think about that because, yeah, it's a possibility if I don't decide to do the Ali Hazelwoods. Alright, so we are now, well, let's get back on track because the other ones are for further on the bingo board. So we're up to numerical titles, which is having the word of the number in the title. So book 1 is One Night in something. I think I've got a book called One Night in Italy. I did have picked out what is this? The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. I've only read one Josie Silver, which was the One Night in December. One Day in December. Crikey. So I did pick that out, but because don't knock the camera. Because my books have arrived, 9-month contract, which is the first of this series, which I'm not sure what it's called yet. I'm really disappointed because it showed on Amazon that it had sprayed edges and I haven't got sprayed edges. Never mind. A hilariously fresh and spicy rom-com that I couldn't put down, Megan Quinn. So this will be my numerical titles, I think. Alright, A Rainbow of Words. So that has to have the, as far as I understand it, the colour word in the title. For me, I will be picking yellow because I need a Y word for my A to Z challenge that I'm fast finishing. And I think at the moment, subject to reading some reviews and a bit more research, I'm looking at The Yellow Wife, which is a historical fiction. Otherwise, the other option for this could be The Red, White and Royal Blue. Because I only need one book. If I was doing the original version, I would only be able to pick red, white and royal blue for one of those three colours. But because I only need one book, that could be an option too. Okay, alright, so we're now on line 4, animal families. So this needs to have an animal on the cover of some kind. And I have gone with Kit McBride Gets a Wife because it's got a horse on the front. So this is the start of another series. The 9-month contract is the start of a series. Mile High is the start of a series. This is why I like reading series. Biomes is landscapes on the cover. I'll just use this as an example. Or even that. So like you've got a mountain landscape on the cover. So it's a variety of options of some sort of landscape. Beach, I guess, a forest, urban, suburban. So I think as far as that goes, I will probably just go for whichever book I read that has something on the cover landscape wise that doesn't slot into anything else at this point in time. The remix, I am going to need to research a bit more. I keep a list of book recommendations that I find either on BookTube or Bookstagram, and I know that I wrote down Beauty and the Beast retelling. so I need to just do a bit more research. I think ideally Stephanie wants us to, there needs to be a bit more than just a retelling. It needs to have some other slight alter from the original version. So a bit more research for me is needed for remix. For the food pyramid, you need to have food on the on the cover, and you might need a magnifying glass. In fact, this would actually even work for the animal ones, I've just realised. You will need a magnifying glass, but I can assure you that there are pancakes on the cover. There are lemons in the window. There are other baked goods. I'll just zoom in. There are pancakes. There's pancakes there. There's pancakes there. So this is actually the next book I need to read for this series. So that will be what I choose for Food Pyramid. Weather on the cover. No, weather covers is weather on the cover. And I think for this I have penciled in a Christmas romance that has snow falling. I think the snow needs to be falling rather than just settled, is what I understand, but again I'll do a little bit more research closer to the time. Alright, It's Your Birthday is another one of those squares where you have more control, and I think there are maybe 7 prompts in the original, and it's around your star sign, your Chinese zodiac sign, your flower and your tree, and things like that. But one of the prompts is the meaning of your name is another one. One of the prompts is a book that was published, I think, in your birth month. So that's what I'm going to go for, which hopefully for me will be a Christmas romance, because my birth month is November. So I will buy a book in November and read it. Backlist author. This is another prompt. I think actually on the original board, I need to check this out because I think I've gone over and above, which I will pare back if I have to. I think you only need 5 books in the original version. In Ain't Nobody's Got Time, you probably only need 1. But I think I'm going to be extra with this square as well, and possibly read more. And the author I have chosen, this is a spoiler, but I think B.K. Borison is a favourite author now. I've only read 2, and I was blown away by both of them. So I actually did not realise, because I have that many, that I have the first 3 of the Love Light Farms on my Kindle. I only need the last book, and then she's got 2 more books coming out. I think it's called Grim Reapings. Not sure of the date, but it's before Christmas this year, and then the 3rd book in this series comes out at the beginning of next year. So I'll see how I'm going on just time frames and things like that, whether I read more than a couple, or I might just thin it down and just read maybe a couple more of her books. But she's my backlist author. Okay, 3rd to last square. I must endeavour to acquire these creatures. Now this is pocket monsters is the term Stephanie is using, and I know absolutely nothing about it, but she gave us a list of things, and one of those things was Ghost. And because I could get it, oh no, I can't get it, just realised, I read Good Spirits, which is obviously by her, but obviously not this book, and I wasn't going to get it, I wasn't going to read it, because I don't do books like that. They need to have some element of real for me, please. So when I read, what's the first one called? First Time Caller, and I was blown away by her writing and how much I loved that story. I decided to go for Good Spirits because, and this is segueing a little bit, I have now completed what I had chosen to do for Romanceopoly, and I needed one more book to finish, and it was either going to be, I can't remember, some dark romance or a ghost romance. So when I loved First Time Caller, I was like, well, now I need to read, what is it called? Good Spirits, because it will fulfill closing off Romanceopoly for me. And I actually really enjoyed it. If I suspended my beliefs enough that a human and a ghost could have sex, which is why I, on Goodreads, gave it 4 and on Storygraph 4.5, just because, you know. But I liked it so much that when this prompt cropped up and it said ghost, and I had been aware of some people talking about another book, I decided that I would go for Ghost again, which I hope is right. I'm sure this is, yes. Recently deceased, yes. So this is another ghost love story, is my understanding. Original and romantic, utterly charming. I'm going to be telling every person in my life to read this book. Okay, so this is what I'm going to read for Ghost as part of I must endeavour to acquire these creatures. I'm only acquiring a ghost. The second to last square is an anthology of authors, which I found quite intriguing, actually. I like the premise of the prompt. I'm pleased I'm not doing the full version, because you need to read the anthology and then 6 of the author's books. 6 authors' books. So it's a 7-book square in the original version. I'm going to do 2 books. I did have, you can see it, it's right up the very top. It's that light colour there on the very top of the screen. That is an anthology of female authors that I brought 20 years ago. I think I looked at it. It was published in 2000. And of those authors, on my shelf I had 3 of them. But I looked at that book and it's over 600 pages, and I'm like, can I really read a 600-page book with stories from authors that I might not enjoy? So I ummed and ahed, and I looked at the FAQ, and someone had asked if those Amazon, Amazon do those original series romances. They're really short stories. And there's usually 6 in the series, and someone asked if that would count as an anthology, and she said yes. So that is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to choose the Improbable Meet Cute series. The authors are Christina Lauren, Hannah Bonham Young, Julie Soto, Trelina Pucci, Catherine Cowles, and Navissa Allen. And then from there, I will read a book by one of the other authors. And I think this is me telling me now that it won't be Christina Lauren and it won't be Navissa Allen, because I've read them already. So it will be one of the other 4, but I'm not sure which yet. So that's 2 books for this square for me. The anthology series of 6 shorts, and then a book by one of those authors. And the last square, which is another purple, Second Chances and Hidden Gems, is again you choosing a bit more control over what you read. I think in the spreadsheet it says if you've had some soft DNFs, give those books another chance. When you're looking at Goodreads or wherever you get your recommendations from, low star reviews, give one of those books a chance, an ugly cover a chance. And I think one of them was a recommendation from someone whose reading tastes are not like you. Something along those lines, I think that's right. And when I saw that, I knew exactly who and what for that. And it's another historical romance. I'll put a picture of the cover on here because I haven't brought it yet, and I will buy it. So the person that I got this book from is Carly, who has the Pastel Bookshelf YouTube channel. She's a delightful Welsh book reader, and she's got a fabulous wall of books behind her, but she primarily reads yuck books for me, thrillers and horrors and all of that. But sometimes, I'm sure when she's done book tours, there are a few romances on her shelf, and she pulled out this historical fiction called Costanza. I think that's saying it. I don't actually have the author's name, but hopefully it'll be viewable on the I'll stick this here. And it's a historical fiction set in 16th century Rome, about a sculptor and his muse, I think, and it's apparently based on a true story. So I thought that is what I will read for this prompt. It covers someone whose book tastes are primarily not my own. She would come in here and look at my shelves and find nothing, with the exception of, do I still have it? Oh, I do. Murder in the Family, but she's probably read that already. And it's probably very tame by her tastes. But when she talked about this book, I was intrigued enough to actually save it on my wish list. And when I saw this prompt, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to read it. Okay, we have come to the end of the bingo board. We are getting back into the realm of my camera wants to say no more working. So I'm going to end this video now. My plan is to publish a weekly video from here on out for the foreseeable future. Let's see how that goes. I will be back to talk about probably for the month of July it will be a bit more of a highlights of the first half of the year. Probably not a TBR for now, and then we'll sort of get back into the swing of it for August. So thank you for watching this far. If you have, please subscribe if you are interested in seeing whether I can make the hardest reading challenge you've ever read possible with primarily romance books. It looks like it. And you know, if you just want another person's point of view on books. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll catch you in another video very soon. Bye for now.